wise. But I know Wednesday's not my typical day, but I went ahead and decided I would update you all on my week over week updates today, even though it's not on a Friday. I figured, you know what, it's still better to do it now than to not do it at all. And you're kind of falling behind when I'm just sitting around and just doing nothing in particular. And then my mom calls me out of the blue and she's like, "Hey, what's wrong? What's going on?" I'm like, "What do you mean, Mom? What are you talking about?" She's like, "I haven't gotten a notification. You haven't uploaded any new videos." So to do my mom right, I had to make sure I get back on top of my game and continue to do these videos. So I got to make her proud, and of course I got to make you guys proud and keep my word, which is what I said I would do. So I'm here with a live update. I know it's a little bit behind, but I intend to get back on schedule just for you guys. So today we're gonna do the February 26th, which is last Friday's update. Since I have been doing this week over week, I'm gonna provide an update for the prior week, and I'm also going to make sure that I talk about month end, because February also ended on the 28th. So I want to give you guys a little sneak peek of what's happened since then. So, but before I kind of jump into that stuff, doing this stuff on a regular basis and all that, you have all kinds of situations, and I don't know, you have some fun here and there. And I wanted to first share with you guys kind of a cringe story. Hold on, I'm gonna break something here. So I had this situation that I learned from over the last few weeks, and it deals with shipping items. So those of you who know or don't know, I sell consumer electronics, and one of the things I've been starting to dabble in lately is TVs. And I'm thinking, TVs are great. Everybody wants TVs. It should be very easy to sell. Kind of a mixed bag. We're learning about it as we go. I had this $3,500 retail price. LG 77-inch OLED TV. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful TV. The problem is that it's big. So I listed it originally in kind of the local Facebook marketplace, hoping to sell to somebody who lives in Charlotte. That way I don't have to deal with shipping and all that fun stuff. But there's not many takers. Apparently not many people want to spend $3,000 on a TV on Facebook Marketplace. So I said, you know what, let's go ahead and list it on eBay, because it's going to widen the audience, and it's going to, we'll be able to shift a little bit faster. The trade-off is you got to pay fees, transactions, shipping, all that fun stuff. But we need to move the item. So we put it up on eBay, and I was surprised, even though I had it selling for roughly $2,500 or listed for $2,500 local, it sold within 24 hours for $2,900 on eBay. So now the problem isn't that we sold it, it's now we got to ship it. So I go to UPS the next day, and I talk to the guy there, and I say, "Hey, I need some advice." He's like, "Okay, what's up?" I said, "What do you recommend I do, or how do you recommend I ship a TV?" And he said, "I recommend you don't ship it." Okay, thanks. That's a good start. So we kind of got it talking about the dimensions, weights, and all that. And long story short, if it's in a box, to go to the Midwest, which is where this item was set to go, it's going to cost roughly $350. And UPS won't insure it because it's a box, which means they have to handle it, which means they think it's likely going to break by the time it gets there. So they won't insure it. Option B is you palletize it, which is fine, but then when you palletize, you go freight, which means you need a lift gate, and if you're going to residential, it's more expensive. But then the TV is really long, which means it's got to go on 2 pallets, which means it gets a lot more expensive. So now we're at $550. So some basic math. So I go back to the drawing board. I said, okay, so we sold it for $2,900. I pay roughly 10% listing fees, so we'll say $300, and then we're going to spend about $600 in shipping, 3% transaction. So I'm down up to about $2,000 in what's left over before I take out the cost of the item. So the question I asked myself and a few other people was, what if I just sold it local at that same starting point? So if we took out the shipping, we took out the listing fees, taxes washes out anyways, regardless of where you are, taxes wash out because the customer ends up paying for that. What if we just sold it local at a lower price? So like $2,200, $2,300. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to go in and do that. So I canceled the eBay order, which kind of I get dinged for, but it's worth it in this case. And I relisted it locally at a lower price point, so that way it's going to be more attractive for somebody to buy locally, in the hopes that it would sell. And so I did that. And then what happened next was it's sold on my website, right? So as you guys know, in February, my whole goal was building out kind of the marketing foundation. One of the key aspects there was a brand and a website. So I had a website live, and I was so excited. My first sale on my website was a freaking $2,900 TV. Pretty freaking cool. But then my heart sank because I then realized, it means I have to ship it. Because I sold it on my website, I have to ship it. So it's a really cringe story. And literally, this all happened within 48 hours. So I go into the website order to start looking at where this is going, so that way I can figure out how am I going to deal with the shipping now. And lo and behold, my first customer on my website who bought a TV from me lives in Mooresville, North Carolina. So guess what I did? I did a free white glove delivery to this customer because I am not paying shipping. And then I took down all my other TV listings. So we will come back to TV listings in the future, but that's my cringe story for the day. What an experience. Great to meet that customer in person. Super cool guy up in Mooresville, and I appreciate his business and to help kick off my website sales. So let's get into sales, because that's why we're really here today. I just wanted to give you guys that cool story because it was interesting. So let's take a look at our week over week revenue. So we're up $3,400 since last week. So that's an increase of $2,700 versus the prior week, right? So we're meaning that our week over week revenue is a little bit higher this week than the prior week, which is a good thing. But you also have to consider here, because of the TV sale, which is factored in here, it's going to inflate those numbers. So more or less, week over week, we're pretty flat. Getting into March, I'm seeing some downtick in activity, but I'm also starting to kind of kick off some other avenues. Won't get into all that right now, but I do have a schedule of topics that I will share at the end of this video. So revenue is looking good. Year-to-date revenue, almost at 60 grand. This is as of February 28th, end of month. Interesting, looking at February versus January, we had approximately a 12% increase in total sales between the 2 months. And then January versus December was like a 90% increase. So we'll talk a little bit more about what I'm looking to expect for the remainder of the year, but not in this video. So that's our year-to-date revenue. And then I also wanted to hit on two key milestones that we hit on recently. So the first one is our all-time revenue. So I started doing this as a hobby in January of last year, and then COVID happened and things kind of fizzled out. But then September, October, I started to pick it up again. So if you factor in basically fourth quarter of last year as well as where we are as of today, and I'm cheating a little bit because we're not really at 100,000, but by the time that today closes out, because today's actually a very good day, we will surpass $100,000 in all-time revenue. So it's a milestone. It's not, for me, not the biggest milestone, but it's an important one, and I look to exceed that many times over in the near future. And then the other interesting milestone is I don't want to share that yet, but what I wanted to share was the cost factor. So I shared this a few videos back where I would show in red text the kind of the net cost or where I'm at relative to what I've invested is how I'll put it. And I'm excited to say that also as of today, it looks like we have completely covered all of our inventory costs since day one which would have been January of last year, it's kind of significant because it means that all this revenue that I've earned up until today is basically been to cover my initial investment into inventory. Now there's other costs like labor, outbound costs, shipping, postage, all that stuff. So I'm not looking at that right now, but I want to talk about that investment in inventory because that's kind of one of the biggest hurdles I think in terms of getting into this and understanding, hey, how much money should we invest, and are we going to make that money back? So what's cool is as of today, I've invested over $108,000 in inventory. So if you bump that up against our all-time revenue of $100,000, we've essentially recovered that cost. What you guys don't know is I have two 200 square foot storage units that are packed to the brim with inventory. So that's kind of the cool part is we've covered the cost basis. And now on the tail end, the question is how much more money will we make with the inventory that I still have? I've sold probably, or estimating this, I don't know the actual metric. I'll probably pull it up for next video. Probably 35% of my inventory has been sold. So just thinking about the fact that the cost has been covered, I have some other outbound expenses as well, but all in, we're looking to make another probably $150,000 to $250,000 in additional revenue on the inventory that I still have. So that's pretty cool. So I'm excited to share those numbers as we go forward, but I'm still going to have to continue to buy inventory, which we will also talk about in another video. So I will go ahead and conclude this video. And again, this kind of to summarize things. I've been kind of below the radar the last week and a half. I've been very, very busy. I've juggling a lot of balls, but I still want to stay committed to doing videos and kind of a new renewed sense ever since my mom called me like, man, I got to get to work. I can't let my mom down. So I put together a schedule of topics because I do have a lot that's on my mind. I do want to share with you all these topics in the coming days. So, mainly the weekly updates. I'm going to change those to Saturday mornings. I know I've been trying to do them Friday evenings, but if I'm doing a week over week update on Friday for Friday revenue, I kind of don't really give you the full picture. So on Saturday, I'll have a good sense of how Friday closed out because we're going into the weekend. A lot of people are buying things. So I think Saturday mornings will be a little bit easier for me to focus and work on doing those updates. Tomorrow, I want to do an update on my March plan. For those of you who do or don't remember, in February, my focus was on marketing. So I kind of satisfied those objectives. But now March, it's all about cross-platform. So what does that mean? What's the plan for this month? I want to talk about that in tomorrow's video. Friday's video, I'm going to talk a little bit more about P&L, so your profit and loss statement. So I mentioned some high-level metrics here on these videos, but I want to go a little bit deeper on my Friday video to help you guys understand. Now that I've got 2 solid months under my belt, I want to get a little bit deeper on how am I looking at 2021. Man, I forget it's 2021. And I want to share some of the metrics I look at and how am I going to forecast my financial performance for this year. And then of course we want to measure progress against that forecast. 3/6 will be our weekly check-in, which is Saturday. Sunday, I'm going to upload my marketing phase 2 video, which is kind of what it's the next phase of the marketing activities. And then on Monday, I want to hit on my top 10 questions starting a business. These are the things that I have been or did think about early on in starting this business. I want to share those questions with you all, as well as some potential solutions or ways that I've addressed those questions. And then on Tuesday, I want to talk about how do I balance all these millions of priorities. Still working on that, to be honest, but I do have some techniques that I hope to share with you guys to hopefully help make things a little bit easier for you guys. So thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your support. Check out our website. Check out our Instagram. I gotta feed that stuff out there. Appreciate you all tuning in. And then if you don't hear from me tomorrow, call me, text me, call my mom, tell her to call me because that's what gets me moving. So I appreciate you guys.